This is nationally. They expect them to climb after being flat in 2025. He says this is a fragile rebound. It's not guaranteed. There's a lot of economic uncertainty, rate volatility, and political risk could slow or derail the recovery. And he mentions this specifically. Housing supply remains the biggest constraint. So even with improved demand, the market still suffers from low resale inventory and slow new construction, which limits how strong the comeback can be. So, question for you. If sales really do go up 14% next year, what does this mean for the agents who have been listening to our podcast and staying strong?
Well, I think there's two things to consider here. The first thing is, what does 13% actually mean? And it still means pretty low amount of sales, comparatively speaking. It's more in line with what's average, but it's not what people were used to. Like, for instance, anybody that got into real estate in 2020 or 2021, we saw sales up to 6.1 million, I believe, total sales. And so a 13% or 14% increase is going to put us at like 4.3 million sales.
Yeah. So we're still 2/3 of what maybe we were at the peak.
Yeah. And so here's what that tells me. Number one, if you made it through 2023, 2024, and 2025, you're gritty. Like, if you made it, you're gritty, because, that was some of the lowest amount of sales, especially if you think about how many licensed real estate agents there are. And we know that, only a small percentage of those licensed agents sold anything. But if you made it and you sold and you found success, you're gritty. But here's the thing. It's still going to be a skill-based market, even with that increase. And I don't think it's really anything to write home about. I don't think it's going to cause prices to go up. And I don't think that prices are going to fall out either. So it's kind of a balanced increase, if you want to think of it that way.
Yeah, it's something we talk about a lot, is like the market share you gain in a downturn, you keep in an upturn. So if you sold 0 homes last year, you're going to sell 14% more of 0, right? So this bodes well for the people who have put in the time. They've been building their database. They've been, being consistent with the way that they communicate with their people, and they put their nose down and got to work. And by the way, that is the gritty people you're just describing, right? And a typical cycle we see is, as the market does well. So 2020, the end of 2021, the hottest market we've ever had, most realtors we've ever had, right? In fact, the realtors usually lag behind. So probably the late 2022 is when we peaked on realtors, maybe early 2023. And then the market, went down, right? So 6.1 million or whatever the number was that you said, in 2021, and then 2022 it's 5.5, and 2023 it's down to like 4.5, and just consistent downward trend. The real estate agents are falling behind that. So let's just say 2025 was the bottom in terms of volume, or not volume, units
sold.
Yeah. Then if that's true, then the bottom of realtors probably won't come until like mid to late 2026. So if it was true that this was the bottom, which I don't think they're predicting, and you and I aren't either, it could be. I wouldn't be blown away if that was true. But then it's going to get easier. Not your results for your efforts should go up. So
what are the factors we should be looking for that would suggest that we're going to have more sales? So would it be new construction starts? Would it be interest rates dropping? Would it be creative mortgage options so people could actually make a move? What key factors do you think would cause that 14% increase? What should we be looking for?